This is Jason Arbin, and I just want to share something I put out there on OpenTest.ai is the URL. The idea is to create some open source tools that are targeted specifically for software testing. And yeah, and so just host it up there. And first nerd note to mention is you can download the HTML, and I'll have it open sourced up on GitHub here really quick. But you can download this HTML and also run it locally. So it's not like a hosted service that has to be up on this website at all. So you can just run it on your local machine if you want to too. So if you go in here, there's a few things going on. It's really built for software testers. So when you use ChatGPT, it's very generic. You could use it to write poems or generate images of cats fighting dogs or something like that. But this is really just focused on software testing. So no matter what you ask, it assumes it's a software testing context by default. And this is super important because a lot of testers I see are entering prompts into ChatGPT and they don't give it much context at all, right? And then ChatGPT doesn't know what they're really asking. And if you ask a very simple question, ChatGPT will give you very simple answers. So the idea here is to make sure that the AI knows that you're talking about testing and encourage testers to share more context and to give better answers for software testing work from an LLM. So a couple things to note here. On the left-hand side, you can pick, different software testing experts. That's a handsome man. So if you want to just have a generic experience, you just pick this OpenTest bot. But generally speaking, you can also, I was talking with Rahul a few minutes ago. We can say, hey, we want to get his opinion, because Rahul has an opinionated view on software testing, and it's different than mine. But maybe he's somebody you follow or you want his advice, and he's too busy to talk to you. So the question is, so you can basically bias your testing based on what Rahul would say. So if we go in here and we ask, what's your philosophy, for example, he'll talk about his testing philosophy, right? Also, he's written a cool new book. I highly recommend it. And then let's look here too. We can ask Rahul what he thinks maybe about this little app I've been working on. And you'll notice when you upload an image, it has really designed for speed too. So you can ask the AI to find bugs or issues in the screenshot. Because a lot of testers don't know what to do with the artifacts that they have either. You can find WCAG issues, finding privacy issues. Design, UI, that's a bug actually, I'll fix that. UI, UX issues. Let's ask Rahul if he finds any UI or design issues with this page, this screenshot. So yeah, he finds some issues, right? Button visibility and clarity, the grouping, URL input field, placeholder is too generic. So he's found like a bunch of things here, right? So what's interesting is we probably get a slightly different answer from different testing experts, maybe. But you're having Rahul's basically testing your app for you. And so here's free bugs and everything. But the idea is to flow for a software tester and make the flow super easy for testers. Another thing you can do here is we can go and start a new chat. There's a context up here. So a lot of testers I see, when they ask questions, they don't share enough context for the AI to really understand their question. And they ask very simple questions usually. So really, if you ask a question, if you think about it, you should ask the AI as if you're a stranger off the street, right? And you go, hey, here's my testing problem. This is the history of my project. Then what do you think about this bug, right? Like a specific bug, for example. So we can go in here and say, here's a bug maybe out of my Jira or something, and we can go and say, it's the bug, and add the context. So we can add the context here, right? And then we can ask Rahul, because Rahul's still here, what do you think about the priority of this bug? Or we could ask him to rewrite it, or we could ask him, so what is he saying here? He's also saying, confirm with stakeholders, to verify like the user base and all that kind of stuff. And he thinks it's a medium priority, right? Maybe different testers would have different opinions, and you can switch between them. So let's also go in here, and there's a couple of settings that are interesting. So on the context prompt, so in here you can say, I work on an iOS mobile native app that is for social networking. My team ships weekly, and I focus on test automation. So now every time we ask a question of the AI, it'll keep this context in mind too, right? It's like a memory, but it's very easy, very explicit to just put in, all the context you want them to know. You can even tell them about your different teammates, and it might reference them in responses. Like my product manager's name's Joe, and Mary is the dev manager, and so you can get like kind of more personalized responses. You can also tell it about how you feel about testing. Like, I am a critical thinker that needs to explicitly say that I think critically, because it's not like your default way to think. And so you can say whatever you want about this stuff, right? You can even put, like, literally it can be very, very long context. In this demo, I already added it, but you can add your own OpenAI key. So it's all private. It also saves locally. That's worth noting. So it just saves local in your browser, so no one can get your key. You can also pick which model. And thanks to Rahul for mentioning this, because the prices are dramatically different, 10x different on these things. So I've only put in the cheap models that work pretty well for testing tasks in my own experience. But you can also enter like a custom model if you want to use one of the reasoning ones or whatever, something fancy. You also can pick your role in here. So this gets also passed to the AI. So, if you're just management overhead, or you want a more broader view of kind of testing and stuff, you can pick manager or a CXO, or you can be, an automation engineer, and it will gear the answers and responses toward test automation. Whenever I do code, I love to let people pick the color of their interface. Just a thing I have. So, not just dark and light mode, that's old school. So then here, these are the experts, right, that appear on this left-hand panel. So you can see there's a bunch of experts here. They're LinkedIn and X and whatever. And but you can also come down here and add your own expert. So super important is that when you put this area of expertise in and you type whatever in here, you can create your own tester. It could be you, it could be a virtual you, or it could be a virtual tester that you admire or want input from. But the crazy cool thing I think here is fun is that you can customize this testing tool to behave and act and talk to you like anyone you want. It could be even someone else on your team. And then lastly, the system prompt is open, so you can edit it if you want. This just is a system prompt to tell the AI how to respond to you and to make sure that it's focused on software testing, right, and gives you good answers. And so it's essentially, it's as if this whole system prompt here and the expert's opinion and your role and this extra context here and maybe an image and maybe even like we had earlier, some additional context here of a bug or a test case or whatever, including an image of your product. All those things can go in with just a few clicks into the context of your query to the AI. So that's basically it. If you have any questions or problems with it, just let me know, or suggestions. Rahul gave me a bunch of fixes and bugs that need to be taken care of. But I'm trying to make it super easy to click, get make sure testers put in a lot of context to the LM and make it as easy as possible. And I hope it's useful and interesting to you. And it'll be open source soon. So if you want to contribute or just make the changes yourself, that's awesome too. And happy testing with AI.